Well, hello, hello, hello. How's it going? Finally made it back out here into the forest. They just lifted the burn ban that they were having out here because it was getting kind of dry, and you know how wildfires get started and all that kind of stuff. Mostly due to people, but there was one that was actually due to a lightning strike. So we can't take credit for everything now, can we? Um, I am back in my usual place up here. Matter of fact, right here. Guess you could see that this little shrub right here, right in front of this. Right, it was like either right in front of it or behind it is where that bear was standing that time. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back up the hill here and camp in my normal spot because trying to find a alternative camping spot to spice things up a little bit was nothing short of extremely frustrating because everywhere you look in any of the spots, there are a lot of spots that are nicer than the one that I use and easier to get to. Um, there's just toilet paper everywhere. There was one where there was a mound of trash, this high, almost waist high, in the fire pit. Just a whole bunch of bags of trash. And my thing is they took the time to bag it all up, but then they just stacked all the bags in the fire pit. Um, there was another little campsite where they had a bunch of just random trash thrown in their fire pit, and so basically if I don't want to run into all that, I have to come out here where nobody really wants to come. So, except maybe for me. So what I'm going to do is get my crack on up the hill. You know what? While I'm looking at them, let me show you this. See these trees back here? Right there, right there. There's also one over here. I'll try and get a closer look at it for you. So this, this is one of those trees that I was telling BC Gerbs about. That the wood actually glows under UV light. It's really, really kind of neat. If you look back in my shorts on YouTube, you'll see a little knife where I'm moving a UV light over the top of it, and it's just like a little. It's just a crappy kitchen knife that I made, or a steak knife that I made on my forge, just to see if I could. It's nothing fancy, that's for sure. But if you look at the scales on it, you'll see that the scales will actually kind of light up green underneath the black light. So I thought that was really cool, and if at all possible, I'm going to see if I can send some of that up to BC Gerbs to, let him make some nice scales for a knife or something like that. I think it'd be really cool to see what somebody could do with that. Someone who has more talent than I do, especially when it comes to that sort of thing. So, yeah, all the frustration aside, let's go ahead and get up there. I think it's supposed to be in I think it's the mid to low 50s tonight. It's actually 80 right now up here, which is kind of crazy. But it's over 100, down the mountain. So we will go ahead and get up top, and I'll show you what I brought for the night. I'm going to try something that I haven't done in quite a while. I'm going to try it again because I was looking at some new items that I really liked, and I need to see if I'm still if I'm good at all with that type of camping, because for a while that type of camping fell out of favor with me, and I guess I'm gonna give it a try before I come to a final conclusion on it. So anyway, enough rambling. Let's get up the hill. Let's get set up, and I'll show you what I got. Well, alright guys. I wanted to be all cool and do the little finger snap thing and make the tarp just, you know, up here set up. And the hammock and all that, the whole hammock rig. But, you know, if you can believe it, as beautiful as it looks now, I don't know if you can see any of the weather or anything like that, but not long ago, and it's already melted off because I just sat there in my hammock in just basic defeat for a minute there, and just let it hail on me and rain on me and everything else. I don't know if the tarp's still wet, but what I did is, so I brought my old hammock that you saw probably in a lot of older videos, and I was thinking about getting a new one that has the built-in bug net and all that kind of cool stuff, and I wasn't really sure if I even liked hammock camping anymore. So as much fun as it looks on other people's videos, I figured I'd give it one more try and see if I can really, you know, really get into it before I go and spend the money on getting a better hammock. I think the company that made this hammock is probably out of business now, because they had some kind of special going where you know, people could just pay whatever they wanted or something like that, and so they went under, I think. So I don't think I would get another one of those anyway. It's been a good hammock, but it's just, you know, it's outdated. It's outdated. There are a lot better things on the market now. But anyway, yeah. So what I did in the meantime is there's the old Ranger roll right there. I was going to use that as a top quilt. And I have a underquilt that'll go up underneath, you know, because like I said before, it's supposed to get into maybe the 50s tonight. And gosh, I hope it doesn't rain and get into the 50s. That'll be messy. But that being said, I've got an underquilt that worked pretty good for me in the past, down to in the 30s. And I have the Ranger roll, so it's just the military poncho with the poncho liner, or the whoopee as they call it. So I'm going to try that as a whole little setup. I might have a little small fire here and, you know, burn some chili or something like that if I get hungry, or have some coffee or whatnot with a cigar. But, you know, one thing I'm concerned about is I didn't realize that on this tarp, it may, I think this is the long direction. Okay, so I think this is the right direction. But this is a bare butt tarp. I don't know if you can see that, but I got it for really cheap. I guess it was a little startup company that was trying to come up. I don't know if they ever managed to, you know, keep going or not, but they make a decent product. I've always been happy with this tarp, and I've had it for a long time. But I might have to shorten this situation right here, because you see I have my cinch buckle, and then there's a piece of whatever line that is. It's some kind of heavy duty M steel maybe, or something like that. No, I don't think it's that. It's something else. But whatever it is, it's kind of long, and then it goes into my line that goes into my hammock. And the problem with that is it doesn't sit very far, if at all, underneath my tarp. So what'll happen is that rain's gonna, you know, at least hit this part and start to run down. Here I'm not too worried about, because it'll run down this strap and I can tie a piece of bank line or something like that, or even tie this in there a certain way to make that a drip loop and let the water drip straight down if it does, you know, start raining again. But I am kind of worried about this piece being slightly exposed. I might be able to do something to kind of pull it underneath a little bit, just enough to where that line is covered and not soaking up rain and just running it down into my hammock, because that would be an ugly night. So, alrighty. If anything else develops, I'll get back with you. Man, I can't believe it just hailed out here. That is crazy. Just out of nowhere like that too. Had to throw all my camera gear up underneath the tarp and all that and get in there and just wait it out. But, alrighty. Let's see what we can do. Alright everybody, before it gets a little bit too dark, I'm going to show you what I have going on here. Once again, the bare butt, and I also went ahead and added my underquilt because I didn't want to be trying to do that in the dark. It's really a pain in the butt, so I'm going to figure out a better system to deal with that if I continue this type of camping. But there is Lucy light, so I have that just in case I want some ambient light. And in here, once again, still have the Ranger roll. So, and that was kind of multi-purpose earlier because I actually used it to cover my pack and block the rain off of it before I had everything set up. So that actually already has come in handy. None of this stuff is particularly light, but it all works well. Got just one of my my trek poles right here, providing a post to hold this little awning up so I can see out pretty well. But so here's my tripod. Gotta say thanks to Mark from Eat Carbs Outdoors for recommending that. That thing has been flawless. It can definitely make videos better than I can for sure. So this is the landscape right now. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Had a nice little sunset going earlier, so I took a little picture of that and shared it. So we're doing pretty good. I'm thinking about making just a small, I don't need any fire for heat right now, it's warm enough out here. Small fire for cooking my chili. I might have some chili tonight, maybe after my cigar or something like that. I'll do that. But let me put you back on the tripod and I'll show you something. Sorry for all this movement. Alright, so get this leveled out for you. One other thing before it gets too dark is fire today is going to be provided by this Exotac Titan light. It's actually pretty cool. You fill it up just like a Zippo with lighter fluid, and it has a O-ring sealed cap that screws on, and to light it, it's just like a Zippo. Takes it a second to get going up here because we're very high altitude. But yeah, I'm gonna use that even though I don't normally like using, you know, lighter fluid type lighters with my cigars because it can tend to give them a funny flavor. I'm still gonna use it anyway, give it a try. So pretty neat though, pretty neat little lighter. I do like that both the fuel chamber on bottom and the cap that goes on the top seal with an O-ring. So pretty excited about that. I also have just a regular old, you know, fire steel cotton balls with Vaseline type emergency kit as well, in case, you know, this thing, if I were to get up here and all the fuel had leaked out or something like that, I still have something that I can make a fire with if I needed to. The knife of choice today is going to be, I took it off my belt so I could show you, the VPS Adventurer. I love the profile of that blade. Isn't that thing gorgeous? I don't know if you, maybe if I get out of there you could see it better. But just really enjoy that blade profile. Yeah, it's pretty thick, and I did you probably can't see it right now because of the dark, but I did a little mustard patina on it as well. Gave it kind of like a leopard print almost on it, which I really dig. Also came with a little fire steel on it. The leather that they used on the sheath and the belt loop are better than the leather that I actually got on my my sheath that I bought from Pathfinder with my Jeff White knife. So really nice knife, honestly. I would hate to abuse it, but I'm getting tired of owning a lot of things that I never use, so I'm going to start putting some stuff into use, including this. And it's one of those things that it always just sat on the shelf because I liked it too much to abuse it. So, but I don't want to die with a bunch of new things sitting on the shelf either. So anyway, that's what we have going on now. If there's enough light and I decide to go ahead and cook that can of chili, you know, that kind of sparks a thought with me too. Is originally I was going to bring ramen noodles and just go with that, you know, but at the end of the day, at least canned goods come with their own water. So all that water that I have in those 2 water bottles, and I also have a gallon down in the vehicle that I can hike down and get. Of course, I'm probably not going to do that tonight, but if I need to refill my water bottles, I keep a gallon down there, you know, just for that purpose. And so, and right here, my vehicle's not that far away. It's, you know, 15 minutes away maybe, walking. So it's not bad at all. I can go down there, refill up my water bottles, and do all that. But if I don't have to do that, I'd rather not. If I can just, have food that already has the water in it, that's just, yeah, it's heavy, but at the same time, the amount of water that I would use um, to rehydrate something is also heavy. So honestly, at the end of the day, I could see it if you can get water from a stream or something like that, but every drop of water that I use up here, I have to hike in. So if I'm hiking in a few more ounces because I'm bringing canned food rather than dehydrated food, I don't mind that much because that's just a little bit less water. Or let's just put it this way, it's the same amount of water um, that's in that can that I would have to hike up here in order to rehydrate something else. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to bring dehydrated food when I don't have a creek or something nearby where I can just use the Grail and, filter some water real quick and then do that, which would be amazing if I could, but it's just not an option right here. And maybe, I think there actually is a creek down that way, but it's probably a good 30-minute walk or so to get down to it, and then even then you're not guaranteed there's going to be anything in it, especially since it's pretty dry around here lately, which is why I don't have a big roaring fire going unless I'm just going to make a small cooking fire because they did lift the burn ban, but I still want to be smart about what I'm doing and not cause an even bigger issue. So if I do have a fire, it's going to be a very small little pit fire. I did bring a shovel in case I want to make a Dakota fire hole or something like that, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. I'll probably just dig out a small little hole, get a bed of coals going in it, throw my canteen cup on it, and we'll call it a day, you know what I mean? So, thought I saw something move back there. Oh well. We'll see what happens though. Anyway, if anything else turns up, I'll get back to you. Well, alright guys, it's kind of late in the morning. I slept in a little bit just to catch up on my rest. Last night didn't get a whole lot of sleep because off and on all night long there were little storms and a lot of little hailstorms. It seems like one came through every hour maybe, and it almost never failed that every time I started to fall asleep and really start sleeping good, I'd start hearing the little pellets hit my my rain fly and all that stuff, and it would wake me back up. So, but no animal visits or anything like that. Yeah, just trying to catch up on some sleep this morning. But as for my snug pack underquilt, I ended up having to pull that off to one side last night just because I needed to cool off. Between that and the Wobie and poncho, or poncho liner and poncho, the Ranger roll that I tried last time at about 40 degrees and it didn't work worth a crap. Well, it was forecasted to get into the 50s last night, so I figured that'd be about the perfect temperature for this thing. But honestly, it's pretty warm. I really don't think it got into the 50s last night because I had to, like I said, pull the underquilt to the side to let some heat out that way. And then this thing, I had it on most of the night, but there were times where I just kind of rolled it down to where half my body was covered and tried to dissipate a little heat like that because man, it was a few times last night I woke up and I was damn near sweating. So it wasn't bad though. Wasn't a bad night. I'm coming to the conclusion that it's not hammocks themselves that I dislike so much. I think it's honestly this particular hammock. And I was doing a lot of looking online and seeing what was out there in YouTube reviews and whatnot. And I noticed a lot of the hammocks now, they have a ridge line made out of some really strong cord that's kind of built in. And it helps hold the slack in the hammock when you're making a long run, with your tree straps and all that. And that kind of is an issue for me out here, because it seems like every set of trees I come up to, they're either too far apart or too close, or there's widowmakers above them, or something I don't want to have below me, like I don't want to have a tree stump directly below where I'm laying, for obvious reasons. If I fall, or my strap breaks, or my hammock breaks or something like that, I don't want to land on that and do more damage than necessary. So I'm going to look into getting one of those types of hammocks that actually has that built-in ridge line that really can keep the hammock slack while your tree straps can make a long run to the trees. I think that'll be the way to go, because honestly, sleeping in a hammock, without a doubt, is probably the most comfortable way for me to sleep. I just never really was able to sleep all night in this hammock, because after a while it feels like this thing is just, even if I try to lay diagonally in it, it feels like it's trying to pinch my shoulders together, and it just starts to get really uncomfortable on the shoulder blades and all that after a while. But with the newer style hammocks, where I can have more slack and I can lay a little bit more diagonally, and a lot of them are actually a lot wider than this hammock is, I think that'll definitely benefit me a lot. So I'm going to try one of those out. I'm going to try to revisit hammock camping after that comes in. And I saw that there's a hot tent that you can put a hammock in. So that during hunting season might be the way I go. I can set up for a good week or so, and do my hunting and have a comfortable place to sleep, but also I can feed the little tent stove and keep it nice and warm inside there too, because up here we're at about, I think we're at about 9,000 feet where I am now, or close to it. So it does get pretty chilly, but I think a hot tent with a hammock in it, man, that just to me seems like that's glamping right there. You can't, it can't get much easier than that. But at that point, I'm not trying to rough it. I'm just trying to live out here, for a short period of time, and possibly, harvest an animal. So that's it's got to be kind of a different scenario. It's not like I'm coming out here to sleep in the dirt like I do half the time. So anyway, I think I'm going to just cut this video short. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking all this down. I'm not gonna make a fire this morning because it's already getting kind of late in the morning. I don't want to have to watch a fire till it burns out, or drag water back up here to drown it out and all that kind of stuff. So I can just get coffee on the way home, call it good. And I am going to try to make another video within the next couple of days. They probably will not be out here, but I have a book that I'd like to show you guys, so we'll give that a shot. So anyway, if I don't see you again on the way out, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.